and welcome to week 2. I'm so excited that you're here and we're doing this together. You know, anytime we enter something like this, week 1 is kind of easy, right? We're motivated, everything's exciting, everything's new. You were looking forward to getting your guide from me, and then you got it, and it's like, whoa, and you're prepping food, and everything's going forward. Everything's new. And so when it's new and it's exciting, we don't really have all that hard a time of putting it into play. You know, it's usually what I see. I know it's not the case every time, but usually what I see is that the first week, it's awesome. It's great. Like, it's very easy. People embrace it. And then for a lot of people, by week 2, they enter into week 2, they've prepped some food, and they're like, it's the same food. Oh, it's, maybe the same workouts. Oh, it's, I missed the beer and pizza this weekend. There's habits and stuff that they've been fighting this whole time using willpower, and now it's getting a little bit more real. And so today we're going to talk about some habits. We're going to talk about the habits and learned behaviors that we've created over the years and how we can kind of combat them. But another thing that I want to mention is that anytime, and this does not just with health and fitness and our physique and all this stuff, but anytime you're entering anything that is challenging, that's new, that goes against some of your habitual type stuff. Anytime you're going into anything like that, you've got to set reminders in place. You've got to have something or multiple things in your life that remind you why you're doing this and why it's important to you. What do you want out of this? Remember, if you go back and listen to the second video of week 1, I talked about creating your why, of creating this reason why you're doing this. And not just, I want to lose weight, right? Everyone wants to lose weight. But why do we want to lose weight? How do you want to feel? How do you, what do you want your relationships to be? What do you want your self-esteem to be? What do you want your confidence to be? These sort of things are really, really important, because it's that vision that when we tie emotional backing to it, when we actually get emotional on why we want this stuff, when we tie emotions to it, then we're pulled into action rather than having to be here pushing ourselves into action the whole time. Because we all know, if you're having to push yourself into action every time, you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna find every excuse under the book to quit. Oh, this isn't for me. Oh, Jeremy's method's not for me. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I don't have, we will find excuses. But if you bring yourself back to week 1, when you looked at that guide, 99.9% of you looked at it and said, oh, awesome. Okay, I can do this. Hey, that's great. It's great. And you likely saw amazing results in the first week, and you can see amazing results in the second week. But sometimes just the desire to see those results isn't enough. We've got to have some emotional backing on why we want those results. And especially if this is going to be a for life sustainable thing, then we've got to have a real solid reason on why we're doing this and why we're pushing forward. And so go back to that video. If you haven't created that why or that reason, I'd recommend watching last week's videos again. It's only 4 or 5 minutes a piece. And then getting into this one, I want you to find this kind of some of your homework for this week is I want you to find some things that you can implement into your day-to-day life. This could mean the wallpaper on your phone. This could mean a bracelet that's symbolic to your goals. This could mean a sticky note on the bathroom mirror, a sticky note on your computer monitor. This could mean alarms throughout the day to remind you to do certain things. This could mean here's that. Those are some examples. You can take it and run from there, but there's unlimited number of things that we can implement into our life that's going to pull us back and remind us of why this is important to us and why we're going forward at that emotional level, right? And so we've got to have that in the forefront of our mind. We've got to be focused on that, because what we focus on, we become. I want to remind you again, what we focus on, we become. So if you're focused on, it's too hard, I'm tired, where's the pizza and beer, all the excuses, if you're focusing on that, you're going to get negative outcome. But if you're focused on, again, the positives of what you want out of this, what you want your life to look like, what you want to look like, what you want your confidence to be like, your relationships, all this stuff, sex life, the stuff that matters, the stuff that really matters, what you want that to look like. If we're focused on that, boom, we're going to get it done. And that's the same for business, same for relationships, same for everything. What we focus on comes to light. And so focus on that why. Now, let's talk about habits. Many of you likely have decades of habits and learned behavior. And they're easy to do, right? Our brain, even though they say, we only use 9% or 10% capacity of our brain, who knows? How do they even know that? I don't know. I'm not a brain scientist, a brain surgeon. But even if that's the case, our brain does implement things in our life to make it easy, make it easier for us. If it finds patterns, if there's things that we're doing over and over and over again, it will create a habit out of these. And a habit is essentially almost like a stored program, something that we repeat over and over and over, and so we can do it without even really having to consciously think about it, right? I mean, think of this. This morning when you brushed your teeth, did you physically consciously think about every stroke of the toothbrush? No, heck no. You went in there and started brushing your teeth. You weren't thinking about it, but you likely do it a very, very similar way every single time you brush your teeth. Did you consciously think about how you put on your underwear this morning or your pants? Did you think about how many strokes you used to brush your hair? Did you think about, you can run with this. There's tons of things in our life that we do. We don't even think about it because they're habit. We've done it so many times now. Here's a good one. Have you ever driven to work or driven somewhere that you drive all the time and you get there and you're like, holy crap, I do not even remember stopping at stoplights or using my turn signal or even how I got here. You're just now in your work parking lot because your brain took it on autopilot. I'm sure if there was a Mack truck coming your way, oncoming, you would have snapped out of it and been like, oh crap, and had to respond. But when we're running on habit, yeah, our eyes are working, but it's a different part of our brain that's making the decisions, a different part of our brain that's running the, running the shit. And the same thing applies to many, many other behaviors. You parents out there who are, creating your kids' lunches. It's very common for parents to kind of snack on their kids' lunches, right? They're taking out chips or they're taking out, fruit or something, and they're just putting in little bite-sized pieces every time they make their kids' lunches. Or they have a habit of finishing their kids' meal at dinner time. If their child didn't finish their meal, they finish their meal. Or people that work from home. If you're constantly at home, if you're constantly centered around, food, think of how challenging it is, because I hear this all the time. Think of how challenging it is for those of you who, have a break room at their work, and people are constantly bringing in treats and snacks and cinnamon rolls and all this stuff. Think of how challenging it is for you when that's just the break room. But a woman or man who, spends time at home all day, they got to walk past the kitchen to do anything, most of us. And so these sort of temptations, these habits of every time we go by the kitchen, we're going to grab a handful of this or just a bite of this or just a snack on this. Many times we don't even realize we're doing it. Just like driving to work without even thinking about it, we're putting stuff in our mouth without even thinking about it. And so that's why you've heard me say, and I'm going to say it in probably almost every video I make for you over this series, we need to be more conscious and present. We need to be right here thinking what we're feeling, what we're thinking, everything. We need to be in control. When you're brushing your teeth, let that be habit. When you're putting on your underwear, let that be habit. I hope you wear underwear. If you don't, go commando, but it's out of habit. And so, those things, okay, fine, grow, keep doing the habitual things with that. But the mindless eating, the laziness, the habit of I got off 15 minutes late from work, I can't work out today. That sort of stuff, that thought process, these habitual things that we've done or excuses that we've made over and over and over for years now, we've got to be conscious and present enough to fight those, to go a different direction and talk to ourselves, really talk to yourself. Right now you're watching this video, hopefully watching. Maybe you're listening to it in your car, but you're paying attention to every word that's coming out of my mouth. That's the conscious you. You're thinking about it. It means something to you. If I was to say something shocking, it would shock you. But the subconscious mind doesn't really pay all that attention to that kind of stuff. It just kind of runs. It runs a lot on emotions. It runs a lot on fear. And so it's very, very complicated when we're talking about beating habits and beating these things that really actually, we've put in place for a reason. And so it's going to take a conscious, present mindset for you to go, okay, I am going to walk past the kitchen. I'm not going to eat anything. I'm well fed. I already eat 5 times a day. I don't need to snack in between those. Sometimes, many times, we do need to talk to ourselves at that level. We need to talk ourselves through breaking some of these habitual things. It's no different than somebody who's, smoked for 20 years or done something, something habitual daily almost for years. It takes effort. It takes effort. It takes a little coaching. It takes you talking to yourself and prepping your mind. Like, hey, we're gonna go over to this friend's house. I'm only gonna eat, the protein in a salad that they're serving. I'm not gonna have the dessert. I'm not gonna sit in the kitchen and snack on chips like I always do. But it takes you mentally preparing yourself before those situations in order to empower you to get past them and break those habits. And I do want to make something very, very clear. This gets easier. Many times, like starting week 2, week 3, week 4, these things really start to pile on. We realize a lot about ourselves. It starts to get harder and harder and harder to break some of these habits. And then we start to get cravings like, I want the chips, I want the chocolate, I want the whatever. And even though in small doses it's okay, but many of us were eating that on larger doses or more frequent doses. And so that pull comes back and starts pulling us towards those cravings, towards those things that we've distracted ourselves or coped with emotionally. And so when that happens, we have to, again, be conscious, be present. We have to talk ourselves through this kind of stuff. And it gets easier. It gets easier as new habits are formed, right? Just the same, you can create a habit of not snacking on that stuff. It's just not something you do. Can you eat chips ever again? Absolutely. Can you have chocolate and dessert? Absolutely. But many times we can't have it as often as we want or as often as we have the opportunity to. And so when we're talking about habits or learned behavior, we must go about it consciously and presently. We must identify what those are and then talk ourselves through it, coach ourselves through it, or even change our patterns to where you're going to do something that doesn't require you to go into the break room anymore. It doesn't require you to walk past the kitchen anymore. But even then, it's always available. So we must be present, we must be conscious, we must talk ourselves through this stuff and create that game plan. I'm here to help create that game plan. But at the same time, no one knows you better than you. And so your homework for this week, if, I talked about finding that why and putting things in place in your life to remind you why that is. Why is this important to you? What do you want out of it? And create little reminders in your day to bring you back to that place where it's important. Oh, I want this so bad. I want that body. I want that confidence. I want that sex life. I want that relationship. I want to look at myself in the mirror and love what I see. I want to walk out of the shower and look at myself and be like, damn, right? Like, I want these things. I need these things. I must have these things and create that emotional tie to it. That's homework number 1. Secondly, I want you to start identifying the habits in your life that are not conducive for your goals. The snacking, maybe it's laziness. Maybe we make excuses in different areas of our life. Maybe we tend to always eat something out of celebration. Every Friday or Saturday night, it's drinking, or every, Tuesday night, we've got to load up on more tacos than we really should be eating. Something, anything. Analyze your life because it's unique to you. Analyze your life and find what's in your life that's holding you back. What of these habitual things do we need to change? So start to document that stuff along with putting in reminders of why you're wanting these changes to begin with. And then we can start moving forward. So I want you to have a fantastic week. Stay positive. I want to remind you again, I know I'm repeating myself, but what we focus on, we become. It's very, very important that we understand that and understand that it's true. What we focus on, we become. And so again, watch the first video. We have the power to change our focus. We have the power to change our mood. Put that into play and you're going to have a fantastic week. You're going to get, closer to your end goal. And it's going to be a really good experience for you. I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Peace.